are these people?
Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, I am on the political matrix. I'm green, so it's perfectly fitting.
It fits entirely.
What's going on? I love it.
You hopped in at a good time because we still got a couple of really fun stories that I think you're gonna get a little chuckle out of.
Beautiful.
So far, I don't. What'd you guys go do? Let us know a little bit, some deets about the date night.
All right, so we got the babysitter. First of all, I got 3 little kids at home, so the babysitter alone is a big thing. It's the first time I think in about 5 months that we've had a date night out, so that was real nice. So we got a nice dinner at a restaurant, and then from there we went to a bar, and they had some live music playing, some like 80s, 90s rock kind of mix. It was awesome. Just nice to get out and see life. No mess anywhere, which of course is great to see and everywhere.
Oh, and DJ Comato says at Indie Left News, smoking in the Matrix. Hey, trust me, if I could get away with it, I would be right there too. I mean, because this is what I tell people a lot of times. I want people to always mention this. When you guys talk about legalizing it on the federal level, you cannot leave out the part.
Yeah, me and Kelly. Sorry, Marcus. Kelly and I think so much alike because I was listening to Indy's story. I'm waiting for him to say, like, we went to the bar and, we went back home. I was waiting for, the climax.
Dude, we got the babysitter here. Come on. The climax is after the Matrix.
Exactly. I'm like, y'all be thinking, you got to put the kids to bed first.
Oh, no, the kids are long down. Babysitter got the kids down, came home, it was quiet. No, wife's going upstairs. She's relaxing. I'm coming down here to hang with my boys for a little bit. And then we're gonna, drink a cup of coffee, check out some news, see what's going on, and then later on we'll go have some fun.
You got to do what Bernie, because he's like, what? Because see, that's what it is. You're not thinking in that married mind no more. Like how Bernie Mac said, you got to steal the booty. That's what you do. You wait till she goes to sleep, and then you start sliding the little panties down, and she gonna help you. That little bend, and then you get down past the ankles or whatever. She's like, boy, what you doing? You know what I'm doing.
No, it all starts with the back rub. See, that's the key. Starts with the back rub. You don't even have to worry about it. She takes care of that.
And then if you really want to hammer it down, you do the back rub with a little kisses on the back of the neck at the same time.
Right?
Yeah. I can't be giving out the secrets now.
See, now he's dropping knowledge on the single brothers.
Hey, you're gonna find out that I'm not as innocent as I be coming across as sometimes. But that last point I wanted to say is when you guys push for this federal legalization, you got to remember the urinalysis and drug testing part on the jobs. That part is key because it's legal out here in California. But you know how many freaking jobs test you?
Still.
Now, do they test
you? Are they still testing?
Yeah.
Are you removed as a candidate for the position?
A lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, because they got so many people that'll test negative anyway that they don't need to. But from a lot of the companies, actually, it's one of the things that I check out before I even apply is are they testing? Because if they're testing, it's just not even worth anybody's time.
It's not even worth it. Yeah, I get it.
Nope.
A lot of jobs I've worked out here, they're like, damn, I thought I had somebody, but he failed the urinalysis or he failed the and it depends on which place. Like when I was working at Home Depot, they do the mouth swab, and the mouth swab, it all you got to do is stop for literally a couple of days. Stop for a couple of days. There's some other secrets too.
Marcus, I wanted to say for the smokers, it's always kind of messed up, right? Because you can be a wild ass alcoholic and you just don't drink for a little bit, go take a test, you're fine. You could like putting stuff up your nose every weekend and you stop for a couple of days, you go take that test, you're fine. You can pop all the fucking pills you want. Hey, look at my script. But when it comes to the plant, it's like, damn, I ain't smoked. It's the 30th. I haven't smoked since the 3rd. But I'm
Dude, it
still
would take me
showing
90
up.
days. Yeah, it'd take me 90 days to clean out. Seriously.
I was one of those people too.
I don't think I'll never be.
No, I won't. I'm with you, son. I'm with you, bro. Chris, I'm done.
I'm telling you,
I'm gonna find a job. I'm gonna find a gig. I'm gonna find something that will allow me to continue to do what I want to do.
To do what we do. Correct.
Yeah, when I did, I'm telling you, I'm like one of those where 3 times a day easily, like, all right, let it be a Saturday. It's probably 4 times a day. and at the same time, I'm still productive. That's the thing. I would still be like studying. I'd be listening to like lectures from Khalid Muhammad, and like, damn, he breaking some shit down right there. Let me fire up another one.
Yeah, seriously. I'm 18 hours a day. I work like nonstop. I'm like this all day, every day. I just took a bong hit a half hour ago. Like,
yeah,
it's just mood adjuster. That's all it is. I'm just
that's all it is.
Angry dude. What I'm not. I'm still productive, but I'm just angry. Now it takes the edge off, and now I'm happy.
Well, that's how I am too. I mean, so people wonder why I get like, they'll be like Marcus Rage. That's why I'm Marcus Rage. Because I'll be like, that patience goes real thin being sober, and I'm not really a drinker like that. So
no,
I don't.
No, it's just family thing. Yeah.
I don't enjoy it. John said, I just made some dabs. Oh shit.
Oh, now we're getting serious. Now we're talking.
I'm gonna tell you guys a secret, because I know most people won't catch this. Like employers, they ain't watching this shit, or if they are watching this shit,
there's a lot
if they're watching this,
they're down already.
But either they're down or you're not getting that job.
Yeah. Well, if they do the mouth swab, because when I tell you guys, I worked a lot of jobs, a lot of different places. I mean that shit. I worked for True Green. I mean, that's one of the places, but I was gonna say, I worked for Quest Diagnostics at their headquarters in Lenexa, Kansas. For the mouth swab, and part of my job was, what I did was I processed the urinalysis and blood samples for them to test, which they test a lot of these different hospitals. And so what you want to do to pass the mouth swab is, for one, don't keep it on the side of your jaw the whole time like they tell you. Slide that shit to the inside of your mouth as frequently as possible. Another thing, 3, eat something spicy as hell before. So those so the juices and toxins from that heat throws off. It's like an inhibitor and blocks the THC, a lot of times. So if you're doing a little bit of that, I've known people who have literally smoked that damn morning, did that, and passed the mouth swab test. So yes, I worked for Evil Quest. Thomas said something. What was that? Said Marcus Rage, or damn it, Marcus is happy when he's drunk too, though. I mean, if I get myself drunk, I just feel like shit once I start sobering up.
Drunkle. Come on, Drunkle's funny. That was definitely a funny evening.
The one where which was the one where I
was Warren on? Or was Glory Jones on? I know that there was one of them. Oh my god, that was just hilarious.
Did you see the one when we went on Warren's show and we had the Political Matrix on there, and I was pretty blitzed on that one. I was pretty blitzed on that one.
I'm talking about the one where you dialed in from the wedding.
Oh yeah, I was pretty lit. Hello, I see doom and gloom in the building. What's up? Said hello, Midwesterner. I'm a proud Midwesterner. Man, I tell people the Midwest got a lot of shit on sneak, which a lot of people don't realize. Like, for me, since I've lived in so many different places, I look at it as every place got some cool shit about it that you can only get in that place. That's the secret to why everybody lives every fucking where. Because there's something that's in that place that you cannot get in. Like, say, for instance, there's some shit in Denver that you can do and have there that you can't do anywhere else. Just throwing that out there as a weird example.
Indy, I have a question for you since you do a lot of that aggregation shit, right?
Sure. Shoot.
What are the parts of the coverage that you see from the left? What are the parts of it you don't like? Because you see a lot, right? So I would take your word, your opinion for some things like this, and I don't want you to pick on anyone specifically. I'm more or less talking like the
Yeah,
top,
at an aggregate.
right?
No, I feel you. I think that there's a lot of, one of the things, especially being a Jewish guy, there's a ton of anti-Israel stuff because they're doing awful stuff to the Palestinian people. There are also a lot of Jewish people that are doing good things, and I don't think that the left does enough to shout out and amplify that. Maybe there are. And then there's almost like a narrative of the day that kind of gets set up. In a way, I almost see it like, there are a few stories that end up filtering down and then everybody ends up talking about them. But is it necessarily what we should be talking? I don't know. Sometimes I just see like everybody focused on one specific story or one specific angle of a story. And I'm saying, okay, we're missing, for example, Ukraine. A lot of people are really not talking about the gas pipeline at all and how important and the effect of the gas, the Nord Stream 2 had on why all of this is happening, as well as the BRICS alliance. And not enough people are talking about the BRICS alliance that was forming, years before all of this started, and that this is only a moment in time in a timeline that started a long time ago. So, I don't think enough people are providing that kind of perspective. And again, that's why we've got Indie News.Network, and we're doing Indie News, independent news now, and we got so many different shows. How do we miss that? So we're trying to cover all these things and bring additional stories. I think a lot of people are still not focused on the corruption at the top, exactly who they are, and calling out the names. A guy named Judd Legume from Popular Information, he's great at like following up. The corporations do what they say they're going to do, and I don't think there's really enough people that are following the money. I can name who they are on maybe two hands that are really, really good and consistent at following the money and following what the big billion-dollar corporations are doing, who they're investing in politician-wise, who they're buying off, and what kind of legislation they're trying to have passed through ALEC. There are so many angles, and again, it's really shock and awe at the left in so many ways because we don't have enough resources to pay attention to all of it. So everybody has their angles. Everybody has the things that they pay attention to. And collectively, somebody needs to call attention to some of these other things too. And that's where I can fill a gap. That's where I find people who fill gaps. And again, I just find that there is a big lack of outreach to the Jewish people that are against what Israel's doing to the Palestinian people.
I try to reach out to them, but they don't like to come on my show.
Dude, you got one of them right here, first of all.
We got one. We got one here.
I know we got. I'm just talking about in general. And
I know.
Before, like I was interacting with you, I didn't even know that you were Jewish until Shabbat came up. Not Shabbat, Pesach.
Right, Pesach. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Passover. And so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because I've talked about this. Well, I was talking about this with a former friend about having a panel, and one of the other people who I've talked to, they still want to have this panel, Ali Alexandra, about having a separation and letting people know that there's a difference between Jewish people as a whole and Zionism, and trying to really make that separation. When people like me criticize Zionism, I'm criticizing Zionist, not criticizing Jewish people.
Yep.
There's that difference.
Obviously
it's not recognized.
But for political reasons, they made the two get married, right? If you criticize Zionists, that automatically means that you're criticizing Jewish people. That was a devious, diabolical, and genius move all at the same time, because then it puts everybody in a funny space when the topic comes up.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. Tying religion to nationality is always tricky.
And politics, yeah.
100%.
Well, going back to real quick, Marcus,
Mhm.
going back to what you said, Indy, I feel like a lot of the independent space, obviously not many of us have been doing this for 15 years, 20 years,
Yeah, me
a lot
either.
of us a lot of us are just starting out. Like, these are conversations everybody in the chat has with all their friends, and we're just doing it on camera too. We're not different from anybody here. With that being said, they're still stuck within the confines of the Democrats and the Republicans. They're starting to like get away from it a little bit, but they're very much still looking at the world through that lens. And
I'm gonna get some coffee. We'll be right back.
yeah.
Yep. Two-party politics. Absolutely. Agreed.
And it's difficult to listen to certain things sometimes because they're still covering it and they're still getting upset. Oh, Glory, whatever, Glory. But most of them, not all. And again, that's not a dig at anybody. I don't want anybody to feel funny or but there's a lot of other topics that can be covered. And unfortunately, a lot of them, going back to an earlier point, they won't touch certain things because it's called right wing. That's not smart.
Oh, well, I heard you talking about the factories that were getting attacked. That where there were a ton of fires.
Burning down.
I saw. Yeah, Quaker anarchist was tagging me in tweets today about it. I really have. Again, I've kind of been checked out a little bit today, so I haven't had much time to plug in and look into what's going on. But I try to, again, part of the independent people, they look at the left and they forget the word independent. The first thing is that I'm trying to be independent of party, first of all, but also independent of the ideology and the narrative and the bubble that we end up placing ourselves in very often, at least to listen to what the other side is saying and take that in as a data point, even to debunk it, but listen to it and understand it.
Correct. They to do that just seems so difficult for people on one side or the other. If they were just to relax and get off that, I think Varian said it, like my team versus your team bullshit. You would see there's common things going on. You would see that actually it's the only thing that's real is the WWF, right? In that they're pretending to be fighting. They're pretending to be adversaries. They're pretending to fight. But behind the scenes, like, they're all going to have beers and laugh at how much money they made at the gate that night. Oof. It's important to then look at who's controlling the gate.
Yeah. 100%, man. And that's that again, focused on follow the money. That's what I love, what I focused on quite, shout out to Steve from Slow News Day. Glory's in the chat, I see. That's one of the things they do, and they try to follow it even months before most people are looking for it, coming from those sources. I give them credit because, again, 6 months ahead, usually on average. But yes, I actually did try to take a day off today, Glory. Come on, stop giving me crap. I'm tweeting with everybody, but I didn't publish a news thing today. I didn't publish a Substack. I cut a Jesse Jet thing because he did an awesome spoken word Bernie 2024 thing, and I was like, oh, we have to get that out. So we put that out today. But
another question for you, Indy. Given that you do cover a lot of this stuff, how much do you think the people in this space and some of their followers, based on what you've seen, would be interested or worked up or happy or excited about the thought of a Bernie Sanders running for president again?
Our space, like the real left space, is not at all. No, there's almost zero appetite, and everybody's like, no, like, God. He's already gotten trounced twice and given in to his good friend Joe. So what's he got left at 80 plus years old at this point, except to shepherd look, again, Jesse Jett wrote a spoken word piece on this that absolutely rips the cover off of this, and it's just a shepherding effort at that point. We all know what he's going to do. Okay,
Correct.
they're going to, even if he got any momentum, they would move heaven and earth to stop him, and they know that he would just push him back to the Democratic Party because Trump.
And that's how I feel about most black commentators, like in the mainstream space. That's all they exist for. And even some of them who are used to be mainstream, like a Roland Martin type shit.
Right.
Those people exist only to keep black folks in the Democratic Party fold. And also, I think the focus figures like a Candace Owens, for instance, she comes to mind. She's hyped up not so much because she says dumb shit, but she's also used to tell other black people, don't align with what they got going over there. Stay over here. We don't talk like that. We won't talk to you like that, etc., etc. But I hate to say it. Everybody who knows me know I hate to say this, but some of the things she says, like, I just separate the words from her because I really can't stand that. I mean, I'm glad she's getting her hair done now. She looks a lot better. But some of the things she says are correct and do need to be looked at a little bit further, right? I would like to see more discussion like that on this side of the spectrum, if you will. I'm not seeing that as it relates to that. I'm just seeing, correct, Dom, she is a broken clock. I just like some of the topics that she'll take and amplify that are already there. And I love to see the left's response to it. They almost never talk about what the actual topic is. They just run and go and attack her. So I see there's problems all over the place in this space and trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, I wanted to throw in there. I mean, a lot of that pipe stream, we followed a lot of that too. It's just that we kind of put it out there, and then once it's out there, okay, we got to move on to the next thing, because I find that what we try to do, I guess, since we're never really following the narrative, we'll catch stuff here and there, and then just keep it moving on whatever stories we feel are important, no matter if it's following a narrative of what everybody else is talking about. So I was gonna ask, because I'm even still hearing, I mean, I know they, I guess, because I remember hearing one of the interviews when you were on with Misty, and you said, yeah, I came from the shit lib
exactly.
lane. And
UIT lane, yeah.
Yeah, and I was one, and my thing is, I don't ask you that to begrudge you in any way, because at a certain time I listened to TYT. I feel like a lot of us did. I tell you that I used to be I was a Bernie supporter. I was an Obama campaign volunteer. Like, I literally made phone calls and door knocked for Obama. I supported John Edwards before that, and so.
Wow.
I mean, I literally was a Democrat. And so I made the evolution from there to this point. So I was wondering, like, what made you have that evolution and change?
Oh, man, there's a couple of people that I directly credit, and one of them is Richard Medhurst, who helped wake me up to a lot of the struggle. But also some of the people at RBN, when they were still FHL. I would definitely call Nick and Jay Buffon and Sabby Sabs for sure. And Afeni, my God, she's just absolute straight fire. And watching her get out there and with a megaphone and just do it a whole different way and bring in a conversation that people weren't having about mutual aid. Watching TYT ignore what happened with Assange changed a lot of my perspective, and basically I was done with them at that point. Watching them ignore while Richard was in the gallery at the Old Bailey every day, running out to his computer to report on everything that happened because he couldn't write it all down fast enough, and they didn't want to know from it one bit. And it was as insulting as anything to me as a fan of theirs, and pushing this in their Slack and telling them, hey guys, you need to pay attention to what's going on here. And they just flat out ignored me. And I'm like, fuck you guys. You guys are clowns. Not only that, you're also probably being, that's when I realized that it's why. Okay. It's because they are an operative of the Democratic Party. Their only goal is to funnel people towards the Democratic Party, to dismiss the Green Party, to dismiss and stifle and kill any third party efforts, and to shepherd and try to harness the energy of the youth and the left and push it towards a Democratic Party. And then we saw Force to Vote, which was just an absolute culmination of all of that. And everybody ripped the cover off themselves, and little by little, one by one, we've started seeing who these people are, one by one. And then you had,
and we have to
go ahead.
And we have to add COVID in with that too. Let's look. Marcus and I were talking about that for quite some time, saying there was a lot of funny money shit going on there. No one wanted. I'm not saying no one, but some of the bigger channels in this space, they really didn't want to go after it.
Oh no, definitely not. They were afraid to, because they knew that they were going to get censored, or they could lose their channel, or they could lose their form of income, and they didn't have alternate streams set up on different platforms and a different way to harness their audience. And they all got smart and figured out a way to do that and get around it. Look, the one of the guys I credit with this, again, as a Jewish guy standing out strongly against Palestine, and whose father is a Democratic Party operative, Max Blumenthal, my goodness, has been just remarkable to me in the last 2 or 3 years, and one of the leaders out there in our space that doesn't get enough credit, and he gets attacked and smeared constantly for speaking truth to power on a daily basis, and nobody gets it right 100%, and Max doesn't either. And look, nobody expects anyone to get it right 100%, but his hit rate is phenomenally high. And I just adore the guy because he puts himself out there on a daily basis. He's got a family now, and he continues to report unflinchingly, unflailingly, and unapologetically. I just, I give that guy all the credit with Gray Zone, and he's been calling out. And look, it took him a while to come around on the COVID thing, and I think, again, credit to Whitney Webb, and she's another one who changed a lot of my thinking on a lot of things. But these are the people that I started to listen to in mid 2020 that really led me to understand exactly where we were in the space, who was actually speaking the truth, and who was covering for either the establishment or big corporations without even realizing that they were doing it. They were literally useful idiots. But
that's a point that I'm glad you mentioned, and I wanted to jump on that point, because that's where I feel like some of the people in our lane, what I don't believe they're getting. I think that a lot of people, and I'll call you out, Chris. I think that like my brother Chris here, they believe that these people really do know it, and they're just intentionally going against the narrative. I think that they're just that slow, that they don't get it. I really do believe that a lot of these people don't get it. It's not that they're maliciously trying to push the COVID narrative, and they secretly know that it's all BS. I think that
they don't think it's true.
Get it.
No, I don't think they think it's true. I think they honestly believe the Democratic Party narratives.
That's what I'm saying. I think that they completely swallow whole. It's kind of like how everybody says, well, CNN is BS. And then if CNN does some kind of breaking news, then they all believe that. They all drop that, oh, CNN is BS, and go right back to believing all of the Democratic spin.
Right? Yeah, but honestly, there's a person in our space, and I'm not gonna name his name, but someone who goes out to Flint and does an awful lot of reporting out there, and and people want to hate on him, and every time he goes out, and he does one good report, he'll go out and interview someone. It's like, damn it, come on back in, and they just put their arm around him, and it's like, dude,
I'll name him. You know why?
I know.
You know why I'll name him? Because
I basically named him anyway.
The reason why I'll name him is because I came to him with a story that needed to get to a bigger platform than mine. Me and Chris, what has this been, like close to a year now, Chris, when we broke about the scandals that were going on in the KCK police department? It took for Rock Nation to get involved, for everybody to all of a sudden start paying attention to it. We were the only one that would talk about it. And I literally reached out to him and he was like, well, if I have time to get to it. Well, you only care about this Flint thing. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but this is a situation where I feel like in this space, you got to be able to juggle more than one thing. You got to be able to walk and chew gum. And he will get so tunnel vision on his narrative only. Just like, you know, I have issues. And for guys, you don't know who I'm talking about. We're talking about Jordan Charlatan. That's what I call him. My words. I feel like he's a charlatan. I feel like he's just out there for the money. Oh yeah, I'm brutal with it.
Shots fired.
Mr. Status Quo. Yeah, him, who's going to tell you, well, you know, Trump is so bad, so I know you don't like it, but got to suck it up and go for Biden. He's going to tell you guys to do that same shit. Now I'm going to tell you, don't vote for any damn body. I'm just so cynical. I'll say it that way. I don't believe any of these people are going to do shit. That's where I am.
Let me read a line that the brilliant, my friend Jesse Jett wrote literally like yesterday morning. So it's a funny story that happened. You know, this whole thing about Bernie 2024 started to come up, and Lucy was going to do a stream. Lucy, Blue Moon Red Wine, love her. She's a member of IndieNews.Network also. So Lucy was going to do a stream, and she says to Jesse, hey, you think you could write something like about it? And he's like, give me a little time. And 3 hours later, he writes this entire amazing spoken word piece. And at the end, he writes, voting isn't red or blue or black or white or right or wrong. Voting's like a firing squad where you can choose the firearm. And I went, oh, holy shit.
Yep, that's what it is.
Fucking genius. I love that dude.
Ooh, I like this one on Keeps It Crypto. It says, voting for, I like the name, Keeps It Crypto 369. Voting for Knobs, just a placeholder. Joe's a placeholder. Trump didn't want to be president. The market crashed. Wait for it on the map. Map up blood 2024. He wins. Market rallies off. Get your bangs up. No, what's going to happen is it doesn't matter if it's Trump. It doesn't matter if it's Biden. It doesn't matter which one of these skeletons, these octogenarians, well, they're not octogenarians, but pretty damn close. Doesn't matter who you get into. They're all bought and paid for and going to do the same damn thing. Biden came in and he spoke a little bit differently, but Biden has how many Trump policies has he kept in place? That's what Democrats don't pay attention to. He's kept a lot of the Bush.
Almost all of them.
Exactly. He's kept a lot of the same Trump policy. If you go back to Obama, did Obama not continue all the damn foreign policy shit that Bush did?
Most of it.
These people.
And then we're not going to look. We're not going to look backward. We're going to look forward. Come on.
You got to look backwards. If you can't look backwards, you can't see what the hell's going on.
Yeah, if you were screaming war crimes, you know, leading up to the 2008 election.
Yep.
The next people that come in, you want them to do something about these war crimes, right? They tell you, as Indy just said, let's look forward, not backward. I mean, that should have told you right then and there. I mean,
Ruby, that's just our opinion.
Yeah, there were so many signs, but really, when they say let's look forward, not backward, like, oh, okay, you go steal something. Go steal something for Target right now. And then turn around and tell the people, well, look forward, not backward. You're going to fucking jail. And we're talking about something on the level of like illegally invading Iraq and, you know, destroying large parts of that country, destroying hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives, you know, in the region. And you say, let's go forward. Yeah. Someone should have punched Obama in his face for that.
I just didn't understand. But again, look, Citigroup and Goldman, they picked his cabinet. He picked Geithner. He picked Paulson. He went with the bankers, and that told us exactly how he was going to govern. And then, they had a supermajority and couldn't get anything more than a Republican healthcare plan passed. And that told us even more. And on top of that, he had the largest obstruction in the history of the country coming from lockstep the Republican Party in a way that nobody had ever seen in the history of the country before. Really. Like, they all did literally say, we're not going to give him one single win, even if it gives us a win, even if it fucking tanks the country, we're not giving that motherfucker a win. Let's call it for what it was. That happened. That really did happen.
It did, but we also have to say too that you didn't push forth anything that would have gotten the people at least out in the street, right?
Yep. He gave up that whole mailing list, that whole 2008 campaign. We were ready to run through a brick wall when he got in there, and he said, a lot of people and he just put it in his pocket. And he's like, I got the people, and I got this.
And
it's the same. It's the same thing with AOC.
Well,
AOC could use her platform too.
Why isn't she organizing protests daily? Why isn't she doing press conferences daily? Why isn't she? Well, look, I know the question was rhetorical because we all know what the answer already has been, because her actions have spoken and screamed at us for 2.5 to almost 3 years, almost 4 years now. I mean, look.
Yep.
It's sad. And you know what, Ed? I want to address the People's Party. People's Party ain't shit. People's Party is going nowhere anyway. And I'm not talking about it because it's a dead issue. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that still want to talk about it. It's the Nick Brana Party. And as long as it's the Nick Brana Party, I'm not talking about it. I'm not covering it. And it's a non-story. Sorry. I'm going to drop that right there.
Oh, there we go. Give him that fire back. This is what, and Ed always hops in. He always does this in our chat. Ed, if you don't know this about me and Chris, we are not a part of anybody's party. It don't matter if it's Democratic, Republican, People's Party, DSA. We don't give a shit about none of the parties. None of them. The reason
because the electoral system is rigged. Because the entire
point.
The voting system is rigged. Until you fix the machines, until you have true transparency, until you don't have most of the poll workers being 85 years old because they're on Social Security, they're retired, they're the only people that can show up at the polls and sit there all day. Let's call it for what it is. They don't know how to work the equipment most of the time. All right,
and I tell people, let's play this game. Okay, let's say you get People's Party or DSA or Green or whatever you want. Let's say you get 50 of them in this next race into the House. What's going to change? They're not going to have power because Pelosi, even if whether it's Pelosi who would be the minority leader, or McCarthy, you're not getting shit. You're not getting none of your bills to the floor, and it's not getting through the Senate. And then even if you did even get it to that point, no president is signing none of your bills into fucking law. I don't know why this isn't clicking for you people.
No, they're there to be obstructionists, totally, to say no to the Republicans and the Democrats. That's what they would be there to do. Okay. And yeah, we'll try to pass some of our stuff. Okay. But we can't count on them to push our agenda through when it completely is counter to the capitalist agenda and to all the donors that are funding the Republicans and the Democrats.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think people get this. It's
all the same. Even let's go back to what was that? I think it was February 21, was it? Or maybe it was 20. After they had the meeting about COVID and all the senators and Congress people got busted, buying the preferred stock, selling the shit stock that was going to crash.
Right.
I mean,
that was in February 2020, just before COVID hit. You had six senators, a couple of representatives, but Feinstein was in there. You had a couple of Republicans, and they all dumped some stuff, and they bought some other stuff. And the other thing that nobody's looking at is the kids and the brothers and the rest of the family, which is where they funnel all this shit to anyway, because they know that everybody's looking at them. Right? Nobody even talks about the kids. Yep. And that's the Hunters, the Pauls, the Christines, all of them. And they legacy this shit.
It's not the sexiest thing in the world, right? But even the information contained in the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers, I mean, how far did we get through those, right? I don't
Well, the
think
Panama Papers. Why? Because
no.
those were CIA dumps. Come on, dude. Let's call that what that is. Okay, because the only people that weren't implicated in the Panama and Paradise Papers were Americans. How did that happen? It got funneled through mainstream media sources, okay, through the ICIJ, who I again used to parrot and champion and thought they were great until I figured out, oh my God, this is the best freaking intelligence front that I've ever seen, planted around news agencies all over the fucking world, and nobody's the wiser. And they're releasing these big stories, and they're exposing the world leaders. Oh yeah, that conveniently happen to be the ones that the United States wants to either get in line or get rid of.
And even to understand the processes by which it happened, right? So when you start seeing it again, when you start going down the rabbit holes of looking at, okay, who owns this company, who owns a holding company, who owns them, and so on and so forth. You wouldn't even look at that to even figure out how to properly fucking, figure out who runs what, who really runs it. Because that was the one thing that was very interesting from those papers, right? It did leave a nice paper trail as to how they go about their business and where the fuck they actually park their brand.
You know what? Since you brought that up, that reminded me of something. For those who think like, oh, we're Johnny Come Latelys and just talking about this shit. Do you know that I got videos? I'm gonna just pull it up. I'm gonna show you guys. For those who like Signs is gonna remember this. Kelly will remember this. Chris might even remember this. This was a while ago though. But this is from my other channel, What We've Been Thinking. Look at the title of this. Now, I grabbed myself with a horrible look on my face.
Oh, look at the stash. Look at the stash.
Yeah. So this was me 2 years ago.
Yeah, Marcus, you got a bunch of different looks, kid. I wish.
All the different looks I always have, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have none of that. The police gonna be able to find me all the time.
If I show you my IDs, like my California license, my Kansas license, my Florida license, every one of them looks different. And then I show you like my veterans ID card. I'm telling you, some of my pictures, I'll be like, damn, how do I look that different in these pictures when it's just a year time frame? How much I change in a year. Gain weight, lose weight. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in my head, I'm secretly an agent to my own secret organization, and I'm reporting to myself and don't know that I'm doing it. But here, I'm gonna play just a little bit of this and tell me, guys, if any of this sounds familiar with what we've been talking about so far.
That's what I'm saying, Gipper.
But the truth is, these are the kind of things which she's been doing pretty much her whole career. And it's just now that it's starting to finally catch up with some of these people. We have people like Senator James Inhofe, a Republican of Oklahoma. We have Senator David Perdue, Republican of Georgia, which I've covered and noticed this guy for many, many years, well before I was doing any kind of commenting on politics on a certain platform. But people like Representative Rob Whitman, a Republican of Virginia, Representative Scott Peters, Democrat of California. And if you guys think that this is the end of the list,
There we go. There's just a little bit of a little taste.
Dude, you got the snowball. You got Jim Mountain Inhofe with the snowball. I love it, bro. You dropped the snowball. Where he literally brought the snowball into the Senate and said, "This is climate change." I'll never forget that as long as I live. That's great. But yeah, and then you nailed David Perdue, who ended up resigning in disgrace. You got Scott Peters, who I believe ended up resigning in disgrace. Okay, yeah, no, Anthony Mackie. That's right. It was like, is that Falcon? Was that Falcon?
Yeah,
I hear that so often. In fact, I'm probably I pull off the glasses and then you guys tell me, do I still, now that I've gained a little bit and I got the beard, do I still look like him?
Sure. Not as much as in the old video, but still, you're pretty good.
I'm a little bit bigger than he is too. Like he's like maybe 5. I think he's like 5'8", 5. No, I think he's 5'9". He might be 5'11". I don't know. And I'm 6 foot.
Kelly, whatever.
He's like 150, 160 right now. I'm about 250, so 100 pounds heavier than him. So makes a difference.
No, it's not the same Purdue chicken though. No, it's a different Purdue family. That's Frank Purdue. No, David Purdue. They're the people that
David
lost
Purdue.
to that's the one that lost. He lost to Raphael Warnock, right?
Yep, out of Georgia.
Or did he lose to Ossoff? I think he lost to Ossoff.
Yeah, and it was. I mean, and
He's also corrupt.
You know how everybody has been talking about? Oh well, maybe we should do a deal, a law, and the politicians can't. All this the Stock Act stuff. I was talking about the. Yeah, it might say that according to Google, but it's all a lie. They always lie up on actors' height. I've seen plenty of these people in person. They're not as tall as they say they are.
Marcus, he 5'7".
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. A lot of these people, they lie up on their heights. But I've been talking about the politicians should not be able to invest in stocks and their family and close members for more than like 15 years. And now I'm hearing people starting to, well, maybe there's, that should have been fucking obvious a long time ago.
Not only stocks, but sitting on boards of the companies either. Board seats.
Correct.
Okay, because board seats pay you shitloads of money for doing very little.
And you can do
your influence and name.
And you can also sit on multiple boards.
Oh, they all do that. Yeah, they have 3, 4, 5 board seats, and they go to 3 board meetings a month that they have all expenses paid to go and show up at if they have to show up in person, or it's just a Zoom call. Literally, you just dial into. Like, I can do a Zoom call and be a board member, but their key is their connections and their influence and their name and who they are, and that's why they're put there. And it's basically a big payoff. And yeah.
Oh, I wanted to throw this in real quick too, because I'm gonna ask you this question. I wonder if you know, how did Pelosi even get her inroads into politics, and who are the people who helped boost her into politics? Do you know, Indy?
That was back in the 90s. That was back in the 90s. What's that?
I was just singing the song. He said, "Who got her in it?" I said, "Stunting like my daddy." The baby and Lil Wayne song. Y'all remember it?
Right?
Like my daddy,
it's legacy. Yeah, it's family.
Daddy.
But who was okay then, Chris? Then who was her daddy?
No, go ahead.
Who? Well, her daddy was a governor of Baltimore or mayor. I think he was a mayor, Baltimore.
Mine too.
And then might have been a governor too. But who got them their inroads? The Kennedys.
What a shock.
She used to babysit
right.
some of the Kennedys.
John F. Kennedy Jr., I believe.
It's shit's all tied together. None of these people who get to these positions got there from some kind of hard work and gumption and all this shit like this. All of these people who get to these positions are all put there. That's exactly. It's all in who you know. That's the reason why.
And then she became, in her own right, she became a great money getter too. She's
because
good.
She was already connected in with all the powerful elites.
You mean a shakedown artist? That's what I would call her.
Correct.
She's a shakedown artist. Okay.
She's great at it. She's great at it because
straight gangster.
Yeah, like when people say like, "Oh, don't worry." What did he say? What did Christian Bale and Batman say? He said, "With fundraisers for friends like mine, you only need one," or something to that effect. She's the type when she makes a phone call, the money's gonna come.
Yes,
she is she knows how to move the bread.
Well, not just the money, but think about what happened at MSNBC in the last 2 weeks of February 2020. All right, you had the presidential primary for the Democratic Party happening. Bernie Sanders was cleaning up, and all the momentum was heading toward that. After Nevada, especially, then you had a massive freak out. And Nancy Pelosi basically got on the phone with these guys and said, "Look, you better make sure that a Democrat's actually the guy, or you're going to lose access to all the people in the party, and we're just going to start going to CNN. Fuck you." And what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to bend. And she knew that she had the power over them. because they need their ratings, and they're not going to go Trump all the time. What are they going to do? And then she went to CNN and made the same deal and said, I'm just going to go to CNN and I'm going to give MSNBC all my airtime. Yep. And she played them hard against each other.
And the media is completely, and I like how Katie Couric laid out how they're all in the tank, the media. Remember with the whole RBG stuff, how she released all that dirt on RBG after she died?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when then we found out, like, oh, wow, nobody knew that RBG was actually pretty kind of racist.
It's kind of racist. Had one black clerk in how many in 40 years? Yeah. But she championed for women's rights, you know.
Well, remember the comment that she made, like, the blacks are doing better than they would have been doing in their own country.
And again, the Netflix special. Right away, you had the Amazon special about RBG right about the time she died to completely gloss over any narrative about her actual record and just use the Hollywood fictional version. Okay. Yep. And this is another thing that I've been talking about, Chris. You know, you asked the question earlier, what is the left not talking about? The connection between Hollywood and the influence of movies and Hollywood. I think you've talked about actually, Marcus, quite a bit on here, like in the Marvel movies and all of the propaganda and the military apologetics that's happening and the setting up of narratives. No, and the setting up of narratives. I was just trying to gather exactly how I want to present it, but you know, in normalizing and making it okay for atrocities and massacres to happen in certain ways because you saw it happen in a movie in the Avengers, or you saw it happen in Three Kings, or you saw it happen in this thing, and then or they gloss over or whitewash atrocities with movies as well. And again, and that changes the way people think about actual incidents.
Well, we like to call it predictive programming.
I'm waiting for the Tulsa whitewash. That's next. You know that's coming.
Of course. It's all predictive programming.
I mean, just even look at Martin Luther King and how they've just taken him. I mean, they took King from fucking Alabama and Atlanta and Memphis, and now he's in Kiev with Zelensky. I had a dream. I mean, it's just disgusting, but they will co-opt everything and message the fuck out of you. Indy, you're going to your point about the left. They don't want to talk about that precisely because, of course, they see it on the right and they think that they need to run away from it. So they don't want to just have those certain discussions. But you absolutely need to, because there's a lot of people in this space who don't see it, to be quite honest. And they get really offended when you start pointing things out. Like, look at the shit they're trying to get you to believe. You should be at least aware of this and like hip to what they're doing. But they just get so offended. I swear they spend most of their time looking for ways to be offended instead of actually learning and doing something. Oh my God, you used the wrong word. I'm offended.
Yep. Literally next is going to be, I believe there's going to be a Juneteenth movie and a Tulsa movie because people have started talking about what's happened at those massacres and what happened in those. And let me tell you something. As somebody who grew up in the Northeast, I never heard about either one of those things very much. I never heard about them in school. I was never taught about them. And I'm like ashamed and embarrassed and angry at the generation before me that made the school books for not covering it, and now determined to make sure that my kids know what happened and that does not skip this generation, because it's important.
Don't beat yourself up too much, because you got to remember who most of these textbooks come out of literally the Rockefeller Foundation authorization improvement, and so you're already getting a very slanted perspective.
Oh, and that guy that put square dancing. Did you read the story about like why we all had to do square dancing when we were growing up? It was some dude that bought off some dude and he was some wholesome dude, and he got some kind of influence with like the school, the Department of Education, and all of a sudden square dance was like required nationally across the fucking country. It was crazy. That's a gym activity. Jesus Christ.
Well, and I knew about both because my family celebrated Juneteenth since before I was born. I have a lot of family who that are from Texas. And, you know, that's where it all originated out of as far as Juneteenth. Kansas City has all kind of Juneteenth. They've been having Juneteenth celebrations for the longest that they have normally out at Swope Park. And so it's always been something I've known about. And then not to mention my grandparents grew up in the aftermath of Tulsa. My grandfather was born in 1924. My grandmother was born in 26 in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, which is only about maybe 45 minutes from there. So their parents were alive and like very cognizant of what the hell was going on during that time period. And then like Daman said above, there are so many Tulsas that happen across the country that are not put into school books at all.
Yep. Asheville's another one I've learned about. You know, how Asheville was just a burgeoning, like it was a huge port city, and it was just, and they were independent, and they had their own, you know, the fuckers came in and burned the whole goddamn thing down. It's like, Jesus, you know, so it's like, you know, that kind of shit, like, it kills me. Like, these are the wrongs we try to right. This is what we try to teach our kids, you know, is we got to learn from the history, but not ignore it and glaze over it.
Well, see, that's the problem with the right wingers, especially with this big fear of critical race theory. See, what they don't get is in predominantly Black areas, we know this history. We get embedded. We especially if you have black professors and stuff like that. They know this history. So it's being taught in our communities. And then it's not being taught in the adjacent communities around us. So what that does is when we meet somebody who has this, well, you guys should just pick yourself up by your bootstraps, and don't understand all of the things that have been against us throughout, you know, time. Because they honestly feel like, well, after slavery was over and segregation, everything was fine, right? Not realizing that you still had sundown towns in the South after segregation. Mm-hmm. You still have hangings in parts of the South to this very day. We're not talking about redlining. People don't talk about how basically now today our neighborhoods are more segregated than they were during segregation. And then people will think, well, you're on the West Coast. Well, nobody has to worry anything about West Coast. They didn't even have the South issues. Yes, they did. They have a lot of clauses that they had in towns on the West Coast where it's like, if you are a descendant of a slave or your grandmother was a descendant of a slave, you can't own property. And there's so many laws like that across this whole entire country. And so when you do, like, I'm trying to remember what his name was. Actually, it's probably better I don't mention his name. But he came on the show and he was like, well, why do we need to know this history and this history? And then he literally came out his mouth the next moment and then started telling me how he just learned about the Haitian Revolution. There's people that don't know jack about what happened with Marcus Garvey. I mean, there's so much history that's never even talked about. And if we don't talk about this history, you can't get past it. That's the reason why places like Germany are doing better with race relations than America is, because they were able to face, you know, the sins of the Holocaust. Whether they got every detail correct or not, they at least face it and are saying, hey, we fucked up here. Our bad. Can you forgive us for our ancestors? And America does not want to do that.
Yeah. No, though at least half of America doesn't want to do that. And you got a bunch of crybabies that are really just it's really because it was their ancestors that were the ones doing this, and they're embarrassed about it effectively. I mean, that's really the way that either they're embarrassed about it or they're proud about it. They don't want everyone to know that they're proud about it, which is that just as bad, if not worse.
That part. Well, when I said that America doesn't want to deal with it, I'm saying the powers that be, the people who control everything in America, they don't want to change nothing. We can have allies like you, Indy. We can have allies like, for instance, my brother Steve Poikonen. We can have allies like Shadowban out there and Kelly and plenty of white people are non-blacks who are allies. But as long as you have the racism at the top of this system, wanting to keep things the way they are and never acknowledge anything. It keeps the current modus operandi in place.
Yeah, and the money train keeps on rolling.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing, is that as long as, again, I keep saying they have red and blue so they can run away with the green. You know, it's one of my favorite phrases, and I'm sure I'm stealing it from somebody because it's way too brilliant for me to have come up with it. But I'm sure I heard it somewhere, and I just love it, and I use it constantly because it's absolutely true.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, the Visa IPO is the reason why Nancy Pelosi is Speaker of the House today. And though the Visa and MasterCard and the law that they passed to allow those two companies to go public have made everybody in Congress so much fucking money that they can't be bought out. They can't and what's funny is they don't want to self-fund it. At that point, it just becomes like greed and about power and about pride and about ego, you know, and House of Cards.
You know, go into like even critical race theory, right? What you're getting upset over it, not us, but you know, clearly it's a point of contention politically. As the black person, we already have to teach our kids how to walk different, talk different, act different, carry yourselves different. If the school not gonna teach them the real shit anyway.
Right.
So why are you getting why are your panties in a bunch over this thing, and you can teach your children at home way better about that kind of stuff than the school ever could?
Well, I feel at the same time we do have a deficit, though. We do have an education deficit where even a lot of people in our own community don't know some of this stuff, don't know a lot of this stuff. And this goes back into especially like some of the, like, I felt like there's a big gap that happened between like the Gen X parents, especially because you had the whole crack cocaine era and that whole epidemic. The school systems got completely just decimated, and it was just farms for pushing people through versus actually trying to teach anybody any damn thing. What's up, Jay? I see Jalen in the chat.
What's up, Jay?
Which, for those who don't know, Jalen is my co-host on Talk of the Ages, on what we've been thinking, and will be joining me for some commentary on my Hebrew apologetics page. So looking forward to that. There we go. SM says, I didn't learn a lot of stuff until college and YouTube. Yes, YouTube taught a lot of people. Like a lot of this information I knew because I studied a lot of these different things. But a lot of people, until this stuff started coming onto YouTube, did not have a clue about it. Now, maybe now we can teach this, but there's stuff which I talk to people about all the time that did not know.
Like for me, on one hand, it was like I got in trouble. My mother made me read Paul Robeson's speeches, and you know, my father was bringing home the ISIS papers with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. You know what I mean?
And you got to think that's unique. Your parents, your parents was on some other shit. Most parents,
dude, that's next level right there. Damn.
Yeah,
my parents were not making me read Paul Robeson. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, they was making. I'm telling you, my mom used to make me write, and like I had to remember his speech that he gave at the Un-American Activities Committee.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't remember it now, but
I mean, he's that's another one. They don't talk enough about Paul Robeson. I'm from New Jersey, so we know about Paul Robeson because Paul Robeson, like, he's got buildings named after him here. Like, and a lot of times I went to Rutgers, so like there's literally like buildings at Paul Robeson, the Robeson. I don't even know. It was a gymnasium, I think. But yeah, I mean, that guy walked through fire.
He all the time.
And see, like I also got like taught growing up. We were learning about Thurgood Marshall, especially like in the state of Kansas. Believe it or not, Kansas actually has a pretty decent education system on some of this stuff. But like we were learning about the separate but equal. We were learning about the 3/5 of a person. We were learning about George Washington Carver.
Marcus, do you know how long I've had this book?
Wow.
How long I've had this book? It's been shit. A long time this book has been in the family. So for somebody like me, it's kind of like it's one of those instances where, like, yeah, we were taught this growing up. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this for me is like a lot of people are just catching up to where I am, so to speak, given what we were taught as children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like
let me address Glory Jones, who's in college right now. She's like right in the thick of it and studying this shit. So it's fresh in her mind. Not only on top of the fact that you are the absolute fire queen and you're in the middle of all this and protesting and more knowledgeable than almost anybody I know about most of this shit, and have talked and like lived the life of it. So, but yes, there definitely is a history that's being ignored or whitewashed, or again, similar to the TYT. I think that some of these people also were not taught it when they were growing up, so they didn't know it. It wasn't in their sphere of knowledge to be able to pass that on to us as kids. Again, it's much to the detriment. And then you're talking to the Rockefellers and the Morgans, and you're going back to the early 1900s and the late 1800s.
Oh, we can go all down that.
Okay, the controlling families that really decided how this country was run, and how
it's being run still.
Yep.
And who said it? Somebody brought up Gerald Horne and Howard Zinn. Those two, I read A People's History. I was still a teenager, and I was reading that. My mom had the book, and it was one of those things where it was like, all right, you got to read this. All right. Again, I was a teenager. Gerald Horne, I ain't hear about him obviously till I was much older, but he's another good person that people should be listening to as it relates to history. And he breaks stuff down like from not just here in the United States, but he goes throughout the Caribbean, South America. All his shit is like top-notch work.
I stumbled upon Glenn Ford too late. I only really was reading his stuff for about the last year that he was alive. May he rest in peace and power. I mean, that was another just revolutionary.
Black Agenda report. Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Black Agenda Report. Shout out to Dr. Boyce Watkins. I heard Daman talking about him and his channel. He's done a whole lot, especially him and Fly Nubian Queens. They a lot broken down there. I mean, I think about how many people live in Jacksonville and go across the A. Philip Randolph Bridge, but don't know who A. Philip Randolph is.
Okay.
I mean, you don't know about Medgar Evers.
I was thinking either Jersey or New York, and then you just said Jersey. So
yeah, it's Jersey. Northern Jersey, but I'm 15 minutes from New York, and my father had an office in the Empire State Building when I was growing up, and so yeah, whenever I went around the world, I tell people I was from New York because nobody ever liked New Jersey anyway. So
man, look, that was an old trick everybody used to use until they ran into a New Yorker. You'd be like, where?
Well, actually, I'm just outside the city in the suburbs, but that's another story.
I have people in Jersey. They were living actually in like West Milford, New Jersey.
That's about 15 minutes from me. I'm right. I'm pretty close to there. Actually, that's really funny.
We used to drive from Queens to West Milford. When we were kids, it used to feel like a 9-hour drive,
and it's like the country up there.
Yes, they just had a lot of land and a big ass house.
Yeah, land is still pretty cheap up there. Pretty cheap up there, but it's getting expensive. Like, there's no place in New Jersey at this point where it's really hard to find like a nice. The houses are getting insane. BlackRock and Vanguard and KKR that are buying up all the real estate and getting people kicked out of their houses, jacking up rents, etc. It's happening everywhere. It's happening in West Milford also.
No, I saw Misha say somebody's landlord raised the rent $100. they raised it. Some of my roommates about $900. I'm like,
Oh my God.
I don't know where they were supposed to find $900 extra in your budget without bringing in, a roommate, a boyfriend, what have you, or getting some money from
Selling
the parents,
weed. I mean, something.
taking a second job. Yeah, I mean,
Or you could be like Warren up
$900.
there selling Mantel.
Hey, well,
Not everybody's got that fine tail like Warren does. Come on.
exactly. But a $900 increase on your rent. I mean, one of them moved, the other one had to negotiate a longer, like a 2-year. Had to agree to stay for 2 years, at the apartment, so they would lower it that first year. But it's just ridiculous. Like when they hit me with 400, I thought that was a lot, and I was pissed off when they hit me with a $400 increase. I saw it and I was like, oh, I was looking at the paper. I was like, oh, 400. They meant 40. They put an extra zero. So no, I got the email too. That shit said 400. I was like, yo, these people are crazy.
This is why home ownership, look, you can't get your mortgage jacked up by $400 a month. That's not happening to homeowners. That's only happening to renters out there, because your interest rate is fixed for the most part. Okay. You buy a house, you got a fixed mortgage interest rate. And not only that, as everything goes up, your monthly payment in general, like compared to what the market and what everything else is, basically stays about the same. So it ends up going down in relation to the way that everything else goes up inflation wise. So, I've got basically the same mortgage payment that I had 8 years ago because I bought a house, and I am, kind of impervious to the fluctuations in the marketplace. And all I can do is lower my rate and do better for myself. And all the renters don't have that ability.
Glory's funny. No, it was US dollars.
Jamaican dollars. I love it. Fucking Glory, such fire. I love you.
I wish they would have said like 400 pesos or something like that. I've been like, all right, like.
Is that Canadian dollars? Can I do the exchange rate at least? Come on.
But they told me 400. I'm like, oh, he's smoking crack.
I don't know. I was wondering, did you two gentlemen hear John Kiriakou kind of put Malcolm Nance on blast?
I didn't. I heard that was happening. The best one was Daryl Black of the Empire did a tweet and called him Rambro, and I fell on the floor. That was it. I was done. Rambro. That's it.
Makes me think of that. See, that makes me think of that old 70s porn, Rambo the Destroyer. Like,
right?
I don't know if y'all know about all that, though, but
wait, he called him Rambro?
He called him Rambro, and I just fell. That was it. I was like, nobody else can do anything else. That guy, he's done. Oh, that was a murder, straight up.
He got John Kiriakou, like, really puts him on blast. We don't even have to play this whole clip, but that's why I said, fault lines. My issues aside with some of Jamarro's stuff late, you guys need to hear this.
The first show I ever went on was Fault Lines, actually. It was about a year ago.
Wow, I would like to get on Fault Lines one day. I keep telling Jamarro I want to talk to him about UFOs, but here we go.
He won't even take my DMs anymore. I don't know. Like, I went on a couple times, and then like he wanted to talk about TYT, and I did not want to talk about TYT. I want to talk about Assange, because Julian Assange's father, his stepfather, and his brother were touring the United States, and I was like, dude, I don't give a shit about TYT. TYT's yesterday's news. Assange's his family's here now. Let's amplify that story. Let's get it out. And
it looks like a giant compared to the other two. Yeah, bro. In that clip.
Right? Well, that's just where the camera is. He's just sitting closer. But yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Is Shane still on the show with him, or is he not doing that with him?
This is his new co-host, Manila Chan.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Which I was like, is that a stage name? That's your real name? That's probably wrong to ask, but that doesn't sound like a real name. I'm sorry.
Right.
But here, check.
Well, people would say that about Marcus Cage too,
Touche.
True.
Touche.
Welcome back to Fault Lines on Radio Sputnik. My name is Jamal Thomas. I'm joined with...
He does have an excellent radio voice, I do gotta say.
He does, but he takes 8 minutes to set up his question. So you're going to listen to him talk for about 6 minutes, and then John gets to talk.
We're going to skip it to John. I mean, good thing this clip's only 12 minutes long. We're only probably going to play maybe a third of it.
Much love to Jamal, man, dude. There's not a lot of people in this space.
Yes. Much love to him anyway. I still love
him. Much love to him anyway. I still love the man.
With him on that one point.
And we have the one and only John Kerry Aku. He's a former CIA officer, co-host of Political Misfits, my old show.
He gets to it pretty quick.
Author of books including The CIA Insider's Guide to the Iran Crisis, The Reluctant Spy. John, which has never, ever happened, which is provably false. Yeah, provably false. And so I started looking into him, and he was full of it in general, meaning career and everything else. Oh, yeah. So let's go to you. You know Nance. I do. You've met him. Oh, yeah. And we had this conversation yesterday where we were in here dying laughing. Please give us your experience with Malcolm Nance. So it's freedom fighter. Malcolm Nance.
The spring of 2000. There I was.
It's a beautiful spring day.
I was serving overseas, and I had to return to CIA headquarters for a class. Yeah. It was an advanced class on counterterrorism operations. And as part of this class, they gave us a stack of books about terrorism, like a dozen books.
Exactly, Thomas.
Well, I'm busy. I'm not going to read these 12 books on terrorism. So I did what any government employee would do. I put them on eBay. Right?
You sold the book?
I got $50 for them.
Government books.
Okay.
I love those.
So I put them on eBay. Some guy buys them, $50. He sends me an email. He said, "Hey, I'm the high bidder on these terrorism books." I said, "That's cool." He said, I'm in Arlington, Virginia." I said, "Oh, I'm in Arlington, Virginia. Rather than me sending them to you, why don't we just connect and I'll just give them to you?" Uh-huh. He said, "Okay, yeah, my name's Malcolm Nance." I said, "Cool. We met at this bar in Roslyn."
What?
It's a small town.
How random is that?
So I meet with him after work that day, and he had this group of people. There were 3 or 4 other people there, and he was holding forth, right? And I was undercover, so I didn't say anything about what I did.
Identify yourself.
Yeah. Right. All I said is, "Hi, my name's John. I have these books." That's it. And he said, "Oh, do you have an interest in terrorism?" And I said, yeah, I'm interested in it. And he says, "Well, I'm a counterterrorism professional." Okay, well, I was in the CIA's counterterrorism center at the time, and I never heard of this guy. So I said, "Okay, that's cool. So what do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I've been my whole adult life in counterterrorism, doing operations." And I knew he was full of crap. Yeah. From the get-go. Wow. I mean, you can spot a phony from a mile away. Yeah. I spotted him as a phony from a mile away.
He just had the look.
He did. He had the look and the arrogance. Yeah. That's what struck me. Now, I've sold a lot of things on eBay over the years. I don't remember who I sold what to 22 years ago. I remember Malcolm Nance.
Right.
So sure enough, I don't know, a year, 2 years later, whatever it was, I saw him on TV. And I was like, that's the guy that I sold those books to. And so I followed him all these years. Well, I've known all these years the guy is just simply a phony. Yeah. He's fake. He's built up this fake persona, and he's made lots of money doing it. So he's become more and more stridently anti-Russian, not necessarily because he believes in, the Ukrainian cause or whatever, because he knows that this is a good way to make money. That's right.
Yeah.
He's going to write a book. He's going to come back with grandiose claims of valor and heroicism.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nowhere near the battlefront.
Oh, and this is the funny thing. There was no clip in that gun, first of all. Right. Secondly, for like one brief second, MSNBC identified his location as like hugging the Polish border, right? He's 800 miles from the combat.
Hugging the Polish border.
He's never going to even hear a gunshot. And then he's going to come back. And like you say, Jamal, he's going to write his book, and he's going to make the rounds, and he's going to get a fellowship at some think tank nobody's ever heard of. And he's going to resume his position as the thinker on the Democratic left on counterterrorism issues.
Well, here's the rub with that. So right here, a retired chief senior chief, E8, airborne mission supervisor, cryptologist, and spec war operative I've given. This is an article that was written on Nance. He says retired Chief Malcolm Nance a wide berth. Basically, look, we've given him a wide berth on this. He said, bottom line, he left the Naval Security Group in disgrace. We, our professional communities and association, generally have a good laugh at his self-promotion, exaggeration, and performance in associations and his pretense of expertise. Basically, this guy doesn't know squat.
No,
and we've
he doesn't know anything. His experience in counterterrorism, literally, is what he read in those books I sold him.
Oh my God! But John, how then? If we fast forward from the year 2000,
but then we have
happened, maybe that's where he got, people forgot about him, and so he gets to reemerge.
Slap upside the head.
He's.
You on mute, Marcus? Marcus, you on mute?
Oh, what was that, Chris? I didn't hear you.
No, I was saying, so it's Kiriako we have to blame for bringing us Nance?
For selling him those books.
Yes, technically, he sold him the books. He sold him the books.
Thanks, John. Damn, dude.
That was
pretty devastating.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, this needs to be out. People need to see this because he just destroyed him. His whole narrative that he's completely fake. Completely fake. I mean, and I don't think most people even know about that article where it's basically saying, yes, this guy, he resigned in disgrace. Because see, what I was telling people is I was like, well, if he got out of the military and somehow he went into the CIA and our terrorism groups and he was undercover, so we didn't hear about any of that stuff, then that can maybe lend some credibility to some of this crap that he makes up. But John completely he nixed all that. He has no background with us at all. This is just basically a senior chief who left the military kind of in disgrace, who basically just because this is what intelligence does in the military. They get info, they pass it to the captain. That's it. All they do is transfer messages. He's not getting any kind of enhanced training. He's not, being parachuted behind enemy lines or none of this shit like that. And then, because I told Chris, or was it Chris? Was it you I was talking? I'm not sure. So I was telling somebody, I said, I didn't watch the clip because of him on Joy Reid show because I can't stand them for one.
Oh, I can't. I couldn't.
And so I couldn't tolerate watching it. But if I would have watched it and analyzed it like John did, I might have seen and got to notice that beautiful little thing there that he didn't even have a clip in his gun.
Nope.
He had no clip, and he's in Poland.
And safety was on too. The safety was off, and then there was and the action was moved in the wrong place. Like there were like 4 things that anybody who knew anything once they looked at that. And I'm not a military guy.
Are we sure his last name is not Smollett?
Right?
Oh, are we sure? Nance might be the cover. It might be Malcolm Smollett, like Juicy's brother.
Dude,
I prefer what Dave Chappelle calls him. The French actor Juicy Smollett.
I mean, his whole shit looked fake. Referring back to Nance, like his whole shit was fake as fuck from the first time I saw it. I was like, yeah, I'm done talking. I'm gonna.
Dude, Reef put up one of those pictures on Twitter. I think he got over 1,000 likes on the thing. He just put out. It was like he had a Red Ryder BB gun and a backpack on his chest. It was fucking great.
I mean, it was just the dumbest shit I have ever seen. So, you know what? From now on, we're gonna call him Malcolm Smollett. Like, fuck that.
Oh, that's
Juicy brother.
Great.
Marcus, that's how we refer to
Juicy Nance.
Juicy Nance. I'm gonna take a picture of me with like a Molotov cocktail, with the sign saying, I'm fighting here all the way from California to Ukraine. Me like trying to cock it and throw it because that's about the equivalent of his force.
Where he said it in Poland.
Yeah, I'm throwing it all the way to Ukraine.
Oh my God.
In fact, no, I'm not going to throw it to Ukraine. I'm going to throw it all the way. I'm going to throw it all the way to Putin and take out his whole organization with one Molotov cocktail, all the way from Southern California.
Yeah, it was really bad. And again, it's somebody's grandma, somebody's auntie, and somebody's mama, and maybe somebody's daddy somewhere who really believe in that. That's the sad part.
And they're like shedding a tear. They're like shedding. He's an American hero, dude. The shit on my Facebook. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Don't go to Facebook. It's a complete nightmare. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. And another one again. Shout out to Dar. If anybody's not following Black in the Empire, go follow him. He put out a tweet today and he said, if you're following corporate media, you have no idea what's happening in Ukraine or why. And I was like, oh, thank you, dude. I fucking love you, bro, because that is exactly what's going on. All right.
I work with a guy who says all the time, I listen to all the sides. And you know what he does? He flips from CNN to Fox all day long.
Right. And NPR and the New York Times and the Washington Post and thinks that he's informed.
I'm like, you really think that's being informed? Okay. I'm like, so have you heard anything that Putin has said himself? Have you heard anything that anybody outside of Western media said? In fact, have you even heard what BBC has said?
That's him took my comment.
Right.
Just go outside of the US.
Did you know that Modi and Khan and Xi and all these world leaders are still meeting with Putin despite the fact that he's invading Ukraine right now? Do you know that?
Yeah.
Because
you know that
he's not Hitler. He's not an evil dictator, whatever it is. Like, this guy's been around 30 years. He's been running a country, but all of a sudden, it's again, they're just it's I believe in the current thing. Whoever put up that profile pic for everybody with the angry face and the rainbow flag, and it's just amazing. Lucy's been tweaking people with that for a while. She got so much hate, she stopped doing it.
I think she should have kept going. I mean,
I think so too.
I'm like, I'll just bathe in the hate, just bring it my way.
It's hard. It's hard sometimes. There's a lot of nastiness coming at you, especially if you're a woman in this space. So
yeah,
she's a good person. She really is, and I think that kind of gets to her after. She wants to be a troll and she wants to kind of poke the bear, but when it really comes hard at you, it's not really for her. And I love her, and she'd be the first one to admit that.
I just double down and get because she's actually a sweetheart. And she's a sweetheart, and so she'll poke the bear. And so then when that nastiness comes back, she doesn't really react like somebody from the streets like me will react. I get even nastier. I'm just going to it's better for me to not get too nasty because I'm just going to keep on going. And it's like if you watch my Twitter account, you know why it stays exactly the same? Because for the amount of people who start following me, that's the amount of people who are leaving me at the same time. It's literally just like all of the vote blue no matter who people filtering out, and then everybody who's vote blue no matter who are coming in. I mean, literally, I watch. Okay, you lost 3 or 4. Okay, now you lost 10. Now you just gained 4 or 5, and I just watch it literally for the past year and a half, 2 years, literally stay the same.
Well, that's you getting unfollowed. That's also them unfollowing people from your shit. That's also, totally. They're deactivating, inactive accounts, etc. They've been playing games with all of us, man, and suppressing anybody that's questioning their narratives. They transcript every single live stream. So, by the way, anybody, it's a little tip that I put out on. If you're watching YouTube, and it's not going to happen live on our live stream. But after about 12 hours on a video, if you look at any video and you click on the 3 dots, you can actually open transcript, and they'll transcript the entire thing. And you can actually search for any keyword, and it'll go right to it. If you do a Control F on your browser, it'll find a keyword. And so and they're doing that shit. And then you can see how they're transcripting it. You can see what they're writing, and you can see what they're seeing and what's triggering their algorithms. So it's pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, there's Daryl. If you watch TV, you have no idea what's happening. Why in Ukraine? Seriously, because it's all propaganda. Thanks. It's all blue and yellow flags.
And if you guys can't see it, Chris put it in the chat also for you. We had one more thing. I wanted to make sure to get to it because actually Indy some of the stuff he said kind of reminded me. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Chris was talking about that. Oh, and Jared, don't take it offensive when some of the bigger platforms don't necessarily follow you back because they get a lot of attention and stuff like that. So sometimes they don't necessarily follow everybody back or not right away. Me, I tend to vet some of the people. Like if you only got like 180 like tweets, like that's kind of sketchy, especially if you've been on Twitter for like 12 years. I'm probably not going to follow you back. And then if people don't have pictures, an image that I think is them, I don't really follow them back either very often. Or if I see stuff like Ukraine, or I hear you like mask mandates and vaccine mandates and all that stuff in there, I'm probably not going to follow you back. So if people see stuff like that, it might not follow you back. So just give it time. But sorry, just wanted to put that out there because I mean, I got a lot of people who are following me, and when I see Ukraine flags, I'm like, nah, not getting a follow back from this guy.
Yeah, again, Daryl's, I think he's got like over 60,000 followers. So he's got a pretty big account, and it's he's great. But so I just got lucky when I reached out to him and I told him what we were doing about INN back last fall, and he was like, "This sounds awesome." And one of these days, he's actually going to get going with his own live stream. He's got a YouTube channel, and we're gonna help him out. We're gonna support him with any support that he needs with regard to engineering or technology or graphics or whatever it is. That's what INN's gonna do there. So I'm pretty psyched about him.
I might need to reach out to you for some of that because we have so much stuff that we've been wanting to throw up, and we're I'm not the most technical savvy guy, even though it might appear that I am. I've gotten a little bit better because I've had to do it, but there's so many clips and images that we be wanting to throw up that I'm like, whatever, we'll just talk about it.
Yeah, we're working on trying to build like a team of editors and then train and teach another generation of video editors to go in and use some of these free tools, open source tools that are out there like this DaVinci Resolve, so that you can go in and make your own clips right after you're done streaming. Now, a lot of people don't want to do that. The last thing you want to do cut off a 3-hour stream is start to make clips. Yeah. Okay. Or that's why we're trying to find more people that want to learn how to do this, and we'll teach them, and they'll become engineers. They'll become producers for these shows. That'll run your StreamYard or that'll run your OBS. Like Eric, who's now running Savvy Stream, for example.
Taking shots.
Glory taking shots at me.
Glory sniped you twice. I think you did.
I'm telling you, when I see you, Glory, I'm putting you in a headlock when I see you. I will see you around, Glory.
Look, the machine is saying insert coin, Marcus.
I might have to give her a noogie. She might need a noogie at this point.
That is my sister. You might have to fight me a little bit on that one. But no, she deserves it sometimes. I love her, but she pokes the bear. So
always busting the old man's
chops. I know. She's the best. So you said you had another story that dovetails in.
International spy can't work tech. Exactly. That shows you. I'm a grunt. That's what I am. I am a grunt I'm a philosopher grunt. Let's put it that way. I work with my hands, but somehow I have my brain is all over the place. But yes, as far as tech, I am not a hacker over here, buddy.
We can talk tech for sure.
Oh yeah, that
should I put that one up, Thomas? Yeah, I'll throw that background up. He said I made a badass picture of the background.
Oh yeah, I need that one so I can put in my background.
Oh, look at that!
There we go. Slide out of the way.
Nice.
I could do stuff like that, but like I don't know if you guys saw on my Twitter the one which I did. Actually, you know what? I should share that, shouldn't I, Chris?
I was at work, kid, and when you texted it to me, I showed my coworker like, "Yo, look at this shit." And she was like, yo, that shit fits.
That looks badass, man.
I mean, somebody was like, "Is that a movie?" It's like, movie. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind watching that movie.
Yeah, it's on every Saturday night at midnight. That's what it's on. You got a 2-hour movie running every Saturday night called The Political Matrix. What do you mean?
Yeah, see, there you go. See, that's why I need you around, Indy. You know,
the marketing and the hype man. That's right. That's right. I know the tech. I know the marketing and the networking.
I got it for those who are not on Twitter and did not see my Twitter. I'm going to share this with you. This is what I made up the other day. And by the way, I was at work when I did this too. I did both of these at work. You know, find a little point, go off to a corner somewhere while I'm taking an order out and setting something up, and then go do a little bit and then put my phone back in my pocket and then pull it back out and do it again. Yeah, this is
Oh, I did see that. Oh my. I did see that. I was like, damn, that's gonna make some people upset.
That was my goal, but Twitter they limit my the amount of interaction anyway, so most people don't even see it.
Oof.
And then this one.
Well, I don't know if I saw that one. Oh, it's a Springer episode. I love it. Jerry.
I'm always starting some shit. I'm always trying to, ruffle the edges, but nobody wants to engage me on my silliness.
Oh, that's just funny stuff right there.
They just ignore me. Chris, you were going to tell us a little bit about the Sharif family.
No, I mean, I kind of want. But we don't have much time because it's already like 3:15.
Okay, well we'll save it for next. We'll save it for next show.
Yeah.
All right.
But we got to hold him to it. All right, Indy, you gonna help me hold him to it? We got to talk about
I'll be here next week in chat, so I'll make sure he covers it.
That's a bet.
Yeah, that's what I want because it opens it up. It goes into a larger topic. So.
Well, and I think that there's gonna be more shit that's gonna happen to make it. I just feel like all of these things that are going on, so many things are connected and so many things are building and building and building. And so it's not like it's going to not be a relevant subject next week. Just what I've been watching. Correct. Just like how we talked about how the Israel-Palestine stuff is heating up again. That's building up. Then you got Iran over here. They're making more threats and doing things. You got the all the stuff that's going on with Sri Lanka. You got stuff that's heating up in Taiwan. Right now, the whole world is all heating up.
In China,
India, Pakistan, because
Pakistan.
They know that our focus is in one specific place, so they can fuck around. It's like
you heard North Korea. They're like, "Yo, what about us?"
Right? Japan's been awful quiet lately. I wouldn't be surprised to hear they're working on some shit, but they do that quietly, so you won't hear about that till later.
They're too busy working on sex hotels with robots. They ain't doing nothing to nobody.
Well, you know what
they're doing is they're being a good little bitch to the U.S. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, everybody there's gonna be hooked up to the metaverse and in hotels with robots.
And then
they're making our cars.
And then what they're doing is they're what a lot of people are forgetting about that is because a lot of these nations, we're thinking in like modern day what's going on. Some of them are thinking back to long histories. And China has been beneath Japan for quite some time. And now that they have tech and power and weapons that are over Japan, and they're like, oh, okay, we see you guys creeping into that Ukraine, Russia shit. And I think that's gonna, telling you, I feel like China's been sitting there for like 200 years, like, yeah, bitch, I'm gonna tag you back.
Just waiting.
They just been waiting. Yeah. Patiently waiting.
You, they can throw the entire population of Japan at Japan and still have 1.5 billion people left. I mean, let's call it what it is. They can do that at the United States too. Yeah.
And Australia trying to get themselves wiped off the map too. So I mean, that's some more. It's like so much shit that I feel like heating up. And just like
Japan is severely, No, I don't want to use severely. Let me change that. Take that back. Japan is upside down big time as it relates to their death rate, birth rate. Their death rate exceeds their birth rate by, a decent amount. So that's why they building all them goddamn hotels with all that.
Yeah, because they got a bunch of dudes. Yeah, a bunch of pent up dudes because of their culture. Like it's a marriage culture, and it's definitely a problem.
And they all watching anime, using their right and left hands to like get their shit off. And the real life girls don't cut it, so then they go to these fucking hotels.
I was gonna say 70, 80-year-old men are having women dress up like little schoolgirls still too.
Bless all my friends that are into that anime thing. I do not. That has never once done it for me one bit. It's a cartoon. I don't know, man. But hey, man, you do you. Correct. I'm all about it, but I don't know.
I like
the real thing.
I got kids. Look, I got kids, so I like a little bit of anime, but I was fully out of the house by the time I was into it already. So
SMO, man, they don't have sex and they love robots, dude. That's great.
You see, Kelly always starting some trouble.
And E. Heller, volcano-based solutions. That's what he always says. Volcano-based solutions. And you know what? With the way the world's melting down, I'm starting to advocate for more of that shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you incurred the wrath. You incurred the wrath of glory. Don't talk about her anyway.
That's all right. That's all right. I got back and forth. Look, she's a weeb, and we all know she's a weeb, and we love her for it. It's all good.
So, I guess as we get ready to close it out, Indy, can you give us all? And I know you're always so super busy on all the things you're doing.
Holy shit!
Can you let everybody know just like what you got going on? All the pots that you're stirring right now. I know you got you've had recently a couple of new people join the network. Also, I want to know about that. Yep. I want to know about more of your plans on what you have, for us to look forward to with Indie Left News. Just what do you have all going on, and let everybody know all the different ways that they can find you and keep up with you.
Oh man, I'd be here a half hour if I was doing all that, but we go through it pretty fast. But tomorrow night we got How Do We Miss That? That's our Sunday night show that Reef and I do every Sunday night at 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific. We cover about 4, 5, 6 stories that nobody covered, that I didn't really see covered much throughout the week. So that's kind of like missed stories. INN News. So again, 6 months ago, and we're coming up on our 6-month anniversary now, I got together with a bunch of different independent streamers. I said, guys, I think that we can be stronger together. We can pool resources. We can amplify each other. We can be guests on each other's shows. We can help each other with tech. And we can just have allies out there in the space that we're all doing the same kind of stuff. And we became IndieNews.Network. And again, I've talked about some of the people tonight on stream. If you go to IndieNews.Network, you can see a full list of everybody who's part of the network. It's been a lot of fun bringing all these people together who didn't know each other before. Again, are pretty close in their message, but still come from a unique, diverse background. We're really a rainbow coalition of people. And I hate to use that Jesse Jackson line, but it really is. I mean, we've got black, white, brown, men, women. We try to cover the whole spectrum, and I think we do that just about as well as any network. Again, shout out to MCSC; they were one of the models for this. Shout out to RBN; that was also one of the models for what how we put this together. And then again, so Reef is now doing a show called Reefer After Dark on there, and we've got INN News that just started last month, and that's going to feature different INN members every week. Reef will do probably one of the main hosts, or Colin will. And then we'll all kind of rotate in between, around. So you'll see different people in the network appearing on that show. It'll be exclusive to the network channels. Again, IndieNews.Network. You can find all the network channels. Then I started a show called Friends of Indie Left, so I could do interviews with some of the amazing people in this space, one-on-one. I actually turn my camera on and do a Zoom call with them, so they get to see my face and have a conversation with me, but I don't put my face out on camera. Maybe one of these days I will actually go out live, but I'm in a right-wing business, and I'm in sales, and I don't want to maybe turn off a customer, and that's really the only reason why I do that. I'm dying to go on camera and see all you. Seriously.
Look. Indy, I feel you 1,000%.
So
I get it. Let's see.
But yeah, so Friends of Indie Left. Like, seriously.
Sometimes I just say, wait till my job finds this. Oh shit, I'm out of here.
Right? Like it wasn't even my job. It was.
I don't know.
It was a customer. It was a customer that would find it and fire me, and more than my job themselves, because I can always find another job. But it's customers, people who buy from me. That hurt more than anything. So again, I stay anonymous. I don't talk about anything I do, politics or news wise, with anything having to do with work. I really compartmentalize the two, and it's a challenge, right. But again, I love doing what I do with this. This is my passion project, and I do it all day, every day, and I'm not going to stop. So again, we're on like every platform you can imagine. So first of all, independentleft.news is like the main news hub that updates once a day, has a bunch of RSS feeds and YouTube channels that goes into it, so that you can get all the news in one central place without having to go to 18 different YouTube pages and 22 different websites to see all the articles that you want to see. That's why I put that together. Then I said, you know what? There's so much content there. How do we take the best of that, or a small sample size of that, and give it to people so that it's just like an intro, so it's not like a fire hose of overwhelming shit. And that's when I created the Substack. So Leftist.today is our Substack, and that's where I put in only like a half dozen videos every day. So here are some videos that are representative of what I was seeing out there that I really like. You got some live streams, you got some clips, you got some TikToks. Sometimes I try to mix it up, and I try to bring everybody into it, and try to put a mix and a flavor, and bring everyone in. Again, I do a lot of featuring of RBN and MCSC and INN and Savvy Sabs and Political Matrix, and Second Thought is like an automatic every Friday night. Second Thought's video is going to be in there. They're just a great channel that puts out some awesome videos every week. And again, trying to get more people buying into, not buying into, but understanding and agreeing with the philosophy and all the stuff that we talk about, which is about for everybody. It's only self-serving for all of us. Then again, so I'm also about to start doing a show. May 3rd is our first show. I'm going to be the host of a Jesse Jett show. I'm not going to tell you what the name of it is right now. It's still working title, but he's going to play music, and I'm going to kind of be like the host and talk to chat and do a little bit of interpretation on his songs. He's going to play some songs, and we'll talk about some of the lyrics and do some spoken word. And I can't be more excited to do that. That's completely something outside of news and politics that I've done. And again, it's just, I love the way that guy thinks and writes and talks. And when he asked me, I was just blown away. I'm like, yes. And then, so Friday, May 6th, we're going to be doing an INN anniversary stream for our 6-month anniversary. As many people that are going to jump on that are going to jump on. It's just going to be an open Zoom call for the members. And that'll be streamed 4:00 Eastern, Friday 6th. Saturday the 7th, I'm going to be doing JB Font's going to be doing Friends of Indie Left. So I'm busy like every night. I'm doing something, and then again, we're putting out a daily news update, a daily Substack whenever we can on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, t.me/IndleftMedia. You can follow us on Telegram, YouTube, Rockfin, of course, rockfin.com/IndLeftNews. We're almost up to 500 subscribers already, and it's just like the first month. So doing great on that platform.
Wow, good, good.
We're on Rumble, we're on Odyssey, we're everywhere. So look for Independent Left News. You'll find me, and if not, tag me on Twitter. Ask me where you can find me. Discord also, big thing. I'm big into Discord, and independentleft.gg is our Discord server. And again, we're aggregating. We have channels for all the different channels you follow and watch, and it brings in their tweets and their videos and their articles and their podcasts all into one dedicated channel to that person. Really cool stuff. Yeah, I think that's just about all of it.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that just in case I get myself in trouble, which I do occasionally. Actually, I've been trying to be good on Twitter, so I'll make sure to exchange my number just in case I say something that they decide to suspend me. Like when I was gonna have my first interview with Nico, that's what happened. I got suspended from Twitter, and I had no way to contact him and let it know, and so was not able to do that. That was, I mean, make sure you guys, if you guys forget all that, just run it back just a little bit and then just remember all that. Or if not, just follow Indy. That makes it pretty easy to keep up with it. Indy is excellent as far as putting out notifications on who's streaming, when, what time, what the content is about. And so, I mean, definitely, I like the idea of trying to, I feel like the only left that they're actually the real left, between Indie Left, INN, MCSC, and RBN, we're, I guess, a small eco center where some are a little bit more to one point than the other. I twittered, I spoke, I got suspended. Yeah, I get it. I don't. In fact, on my regular one, Marcus Rage, I can't even go professional on that count.
Marcus,
I had too many suspensions.
We gotta let Marcus remember. Indy wife waiting. We gotta let him get to it.
Oh yeah, we got some good loving coming. It's almost 2, but that's all right.
I gotta put this up there. Mad Marcis, I didn't try to do that.
Oh, okay? Come on.
I didn't try to do that. I didn't try.
What happened? Oh, come on, man. Come on.
If you go back and see, like, we were on, what was it? On Franco's show.
Right, he said he was going to debate you, right?
Well, he hasn't, like, hardly been online, like, since then. We went back and forth on a couple of different things, and he just kind of, like, I honestly haven't seen him do any content since then. So I don't know if it has anything to do with me. Maybe he just has some personal stuff going on. I don't want to think that it. I mean, let's hope that that's what it was. Hopefully, I didn't say anything to discourage the young man. But I did say, like, a lot of the ideas that he had about these, like, perfect utopias and stuff were kind of like a fool's errand and not really sticking with reality. In a kind way, not that bad.
Yeah, he I know he was starting a new job and he was going through some shit mentally, and again, he's been a supporter of ours and of mine, and again, he look between January 6th and COVID and Rittenhouse, people's brains have been broken. There has been this mass formation psychosis, you can call it. They just hit us with all this shit over and over again. It's like, how many people make it through, like, realizing all the different narratives that they're throwing at you and how much of it's propaganda and how much of it, again, the Rittenhouse stuff was really hard. Because again, if you look at it from a legal perspective, it sucks the way it happened. And that he had the case, the judge handed him.
You sound like you saw that. You sound like you saw part of that.
Oh man. What?
No
What?
comment?
What? What?
Yeah, and then the one after.
Franco's my brother. Come on. Of course I saw some of that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. Like, the other ones, I will say yes. I know that for a fact. They don't hardly even do content, and when they do, their numbers are dramatically lower. I went against the Zionist guy. And then Skeptical Mantis. Yeah, that kind of didn't work out good.
Skeptical. He stood behind AOC at a meeting going, how come you're not doing this? And how come you're not doing that? And she ignored him. And that was like, I don't know. I remember that. And he's got shout out to him. I will give him credit that he was really on David Sirota and seeing David Sirota being a sheep herder for Bernie and for a long time, and I was blind to it. I still love David Sirota, but I see some of his limitations and some of his liabilities. His unwillingness to call out anything having to do with Assange is a big red flag to me, because he's still a Democrat in the end. He still hopes that things will work out for Democrats, but he's constantly calling out the Democrats on corruption. So shout out to him for doing that. But in the end, he still shepherds and cucks and votes with the Democrats. Like, dude, you're like 96% of the way there. Let's go. Just use the lever, use the Daily Poster as the vehicle to really shit on these guys and call it out on a daily basis. Democrats suck as bad as Republicans. You have to say it. If you don't say it, they think the Democrats are better, and they're not.
Yep. And I was gonna say, I guess if I don't know, I'll talk to Jalen, and if me and I don't know, we might be streaming either tomorrow, maybe Monday. Me and Jalen will probably be streaming. I might just take the day off tomorrow. But know that I will we do have an interview. Political Matrix will be on Doom and Gloom with Sebs and Ali, so make sure you guys check for that. We're going to be talking biblical prophecies, so that should be a fun one. But I guess if that is it, we're going to hit and conclude the show. Let Indie Left go and get some good loving. Mr. Cy Lawson probably going to be doing the same damn thing. I don't know, shit. I should do the same damn thing. But that's
pleasure being on Matrix for the first time. Thank you for inviting me. You know, again, I've been watching this show. Ali and Sebs told me about this a long time ago. Again, shout out to Sebs for telling me, for really turning me on to you guys and onto this show. And she's like, I think you'd really like what Marcus is doing. I think Marcus would be a really good fit. And she was telling me about you 6, 8, 9 months ago. So again, all credit to her. And she was one of the founding members of IndieNews.Network. And again, to her credit, she didn't really see this being for her and went in a different direction. And I wish her all the best. And I've never had anything but love for her and Ali and again, have amplified their work whenever they put out new stuff, and they do excellent work as well. So nothing but love.
Yeah, and everybody, y'all have a wonderful night.
All right, everyone.
Do something fun. Burn them
Thanks,
if you
everybody.
got them. Drink them if you like it. And thanks again, Indy. This will not be the last time you will be on here. I'm telling you that now.
Yeah, Indy. Yeah, you you got the pass too, man.
Cool, man.
All right.
Absolutely.
Y'all have
Good night, everybody.
Good night.